Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. In the previous class, the lesson power sharing, we talked about the ethnic composition of Sri Lanka and Belgium and the features of both the countries, like what is the population, what is the area, and what are the social groups in both the countries, the ethnic composition of Sri Lanka and Belgium. All these things we saw in the previous session. We are going to continue with the chapters. Today, we will learn about the term majoritarianism and how majoritarianism was practiced in Sri Lanka, is being practiced in Sri Lanka even today. What are the provisions of 1956 Act? And what made the Sri Lankan Tamils to feel alienated in Sri Lanka? Why the distrust happened between the two communities, that is Sinhala and Sri Lankan Tamils? Ultimately, the distrust led to tensions and conflicts that led to civil war in Sri Lanka. So all these things we are going to cover in today's lesson. Majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. What is majoritarianism? It is a belief that the majority community should be able to rule a country in whichever way it wants, by disregarding the wishes and needs of the minority. So in a country, if a community is majority, they cannot rule as they want. They have to take into consideration of the minority people, those who live in the country. If the majority community is going to disregard the interest of minority, then it is majoritarianism. Now, Sri Lanka emerged as an independent country in 1948. The Sinhala community, the language spoken by the Sri Lankans is Sinhala. The Sinhala community sought to secure dominance over government by virtue of their majority. So we saw in the previous session that 74% belong to the Sinhala community in Sri Lanka. Because they are in majority, they wanted to dominate the minority people in that country. Government also supported for that. So due to this, as a result, the democratically elected government adopted a series of majoritarian measures to establish Sinhala supremacy. So the majority community wanted to dominate through the act that was passed in parliament. They adopted the majoritarian measures to establish the Sinhala supremacy, the majority community supremacy they established. So what did they do for this to establish the Sinhala supremacy? The parliament, the Sri Lankan government, the parliament passed the law in the year 1956. It's known as 1956 Act. So let's see the three major provisions of 1956 Act. Sinhala was recognized as the only official language, thus disregarding Tamil. Till 1956, Tamil was also one of the official languages of Sri Lanka. Even today, you can see in Singapore, one of the official languages is Tamil. So Tamils, they have settled around the world. So wherever possible and whenever the government, wherever they have resided, that if the government feels that that they should give the status of official language to Tamil they have given. Example, Singapore. A lot of Tamilians have settled in Singapore. So here, in the previous class, I told you, during the Chola period itself, Sri Lankan Tamils have settled. If you look at the history, it talks about 2nd century also. They were talking about the Tamils have settled in Sri Lanka. So during the Rajaraja Chola period, Sri Lankan Tamils went and settled over there. They started migrating from this country to the other country because it is in those days when a king conquers the other country, it is quite common for the people to move to the other places under the regime of that particular king. So Sinhala was recognized as the only official language, thus disregarding Tamil. The status of official language has been scrapped by the Sri Lankan government. Second point, second provision. The governments followed preferential policies that favored Sinhala applicants for university positions and government jobs. So through the 1956 Act, it favored only the Sinhala community. It hurt the sentiments of the Tamils. A new constitution stipulated that the state shall protect and foster Buddhism. So according to this provision, Buddhism will be fostered and protected. The religion, Buddhism, is a religion that will be protected and fostered. So we saw in the previous class the composition of Tamils. There are Hindus, there are Islamic people, Muslims. So their religious sentiments were hurt because of this. So if a country is run on the basis of the religion that they follow, it is known as, that state is known as theocratic state. Example, Sri Lanka, their official religion is Buddhism. Take the case of Pakistan, their official religion is Islam. These countries are known as theocratic states. Our country is a secular state. We treat all the religions equally. We never give preference for any one religion. Ours is a secular state, secular country. So fostering and protecting Buddhism hurt the sentiments of Tamils. Sri Lankan Tamils feel alienated. Now, why did the Sri Lankan Tamils feel alienated? The majoritarian measures ignored their interest. That is, the majority community, Sinhala community, ignored the interest of the Tamil people. So I told you the Tamils have settled 2nd BC itself and 11th century during the period of Chola, Pandya period also, Tamils have settled over there. So when the interest of the majority, when the interest of the minority people were disregarded by the majority Sinhala community, they felt deeply hurt. They felt that the major political parties led by the Buddhist Sinhala leaders were insensitive to the language and culture. The Tamil language, the Tamil culture was not taken care, was not considered by the major political parties. And those parties were led by the Buddhist Sinhala leaders. That is why they didn't take care of Tamil language or Tamil culture. They felt that the constitution and government policies denied them equal political rights, discriminated against them in getting jobs and other opportunities, and ignored their interest. The constitution and government policies denied them equal political rights, discriminated against them in getting jobs. Equality was not taken care. The basic crux of democracy. Equality was not there in Sri Lanka. So the Tamil people felt very bad and religiously they were hurt. Their interests were not taken care. They were not considered for the government jobs and university positions. And Tamil language was disregarded by the Sri Lankan government. All these things made them to feel that they were not taken care and they felt that they were alienated in their own country, in their mother country. So the relations between the Sinhala and Tamil communities strained over time. So these reasons made the Sri Lankan Tamils to feel alienated in their own country. Till 1956, they had very good relationship with the Sinhala community. Now, due to this 1956 Act, the Sri Lankan Tamils felt that they were alienated in their country, and the relationship that they had with the Sinhala community started to strain over a period of time. So what is the impact of majoritarian measures? There was countermeasure by the Sri Lankan Tamils, from the Sri Lankan Tamils. So what did they do? They launched parties and struggles for the recognition of Tamil as an official language, for regional autonomy and equality of opportunity in securing education and jobs. They wanted Tamil to be considered as official language, to get back to be treated as one of the official languages. That was the first demand from Sri Lankan Tamils. Second demand was regional autonomy. That is, wherever Tamils have settled, they wanted to rule by themselves, self-rule in the provinces where they have settled. And equality of opportunity in securing education and jobs. This was the third demand. These were the demands from the Sri Lankan Tamils. So the demand for more autonomy to provinces populated by Tamils was denied. Sri Lankan government was not ready to accept for the autonomy to provinces. So by 1980s, Tamils formed a political organization demanding an independent Tamil Elam state in Sri Lanka. So the distrust between Sinhala and Tamil communities turned into widespread conflict that led to civil war. So the majoritarian measures created a distress, lot of conflict. Due to that, the country had civil war because the demands of the Sri Lankan Tamils was not accepted by the Sri Lankan government. So it ended in civil war. What is civil war? Civil war is a violent conflict between opposing groups within a country that becomes so intense that it appears like a war. Now, opposing groups, one is Sinhala, another one is Sri Lankan Tamils, both of them in the same country, Sri Lanka. So the conflict became very intense and it appeared like a war. What is the impact? The impact was many families moved to other countries as refugees. Thousands of people were killed on both the sides. Sinhala community, thousands of people have lost their lives, and Sri Lankan Tamils also, thousands of people have lost their lives. They lost their livelihood. They have to move from their country. The social, cultural, and economic development of Sri Lanka got changed. Earlier it was good, now it started to change. So many families were forced to leave the country as refugees. Many more lost their livelihood. Civil war has caused a terrible setback to the social, cultural, and economic life of the country. So the war started in the year 1980 and the war ended in the year 2009. The impact was there till 2009. So this is the assignment for the majoritarianism in Sri Lanka topic. Make a note and we will submit before the next session.